Well, so this is live, huh? This is interesting. In case you don't know, my name is Todd. Hello, interwebs. Greetings from Maine. Uh, I was planning on doing the entire Charles Bukowski preamble, paraphrased from his last poetry reading, which I believe was in this inn at Redondo Beach. And unfortunately, circumstances have gone against that. So we will not be doing that intro. And instead, I'm just going to read some stuff. And I have no idea if anyone is even here. If you are, that's great. If not, hey, why not? So let's get this thing going. And let me see if I can find the first poem. So the nice part about this is having a poem up in front of me means I don't have to stare at myself as I read, which is nice, quite honestly. I'm quite happy for that. So this first poem is called Trust Issues. I don't trust sleep. The slipping and falling into unconsciousness seems like a shuck or a sham, a game designed to part fools from themselves. And so there's this fight each night between myself and self. My legs ache with misuse and tremble at rest. I should be running. That's what they tell me. I should be running towards or from what, I ask. But they don't answer. They only spasm and quiver. At war with myself, and I haven't chosen a side, but I don't trust sleep. And I don't really believe in any of this house, this bed, these floors, money in the bank, cars, jobs, the street lamps outside my window, beaming the light of God through the glass all night long. It all seems like an illusion, waiting to jerk awake in a moment. My eyes will snap open, and all the world will be vaguely familiar, but unrecognizable. Then I won't trust that either. All right, first one out of the way. I have no idea what that white light looked like on my face, but chances are, I mean, it probably didn't make it look any better, but on the bright side, it probably didn't make it any worse. Badoom boomch. Actually, I can't help but peek. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, that's a nice sheen I've got going on there. That is lovely, let me tell you. All right, let's cover my face up again with another poem. This one is called The Wonder. The wonder is that any of us last with one another, what with all the minor infractions and miscellaneous crimes committed without a thought and the ease of slipping out under the cover of dark. The wonder is that being fed lovingly crafted forgeries for so long, it almost seems like truth, that even a half cooked lie is better than the tartar of a true word. The wonder is that desperation doesn't knife more of us in the shadows of complacency, and that the side of the hideways aren't littered with crashed or abandoned vehicles, ditches filled with bodies, and the forests filled with those just crazy enough to get away. All right. I think I only had one flub there, so glad you were all here for that, if any of you are here. And if not, oh well. I'm just realizing how some of these this poem that I picked out, this group of poems I picked out. And by the way, for those of you who know me from doing any kind of music, I do have a set list, and I did obsess over said set list quite a bit beforehand. Just so you know, I haven't lost my touch there. So this next one is this one is called A Real Heavyweight Deadweight. Untethered, sinking fast, unknown, and not built to last, there are things in this night which aren't meant to be understood. Diving deeper and deeper without words, without sound, underwater waves carry me in between the heavy and the light. Then suddenly, there is a flash of recognition, and I understand somewhat all problems and all issues and all nuances that cause disturbance between people. Bullshit, you say. And yesterday I would have said the same, but tonight is different matter. And all see, it was only a matter of time. So let's go back to the word that I probably should have warned you about. This is the one not safe for work portion of the show. Bullshit, you say. And yesterday I would have said the same, but tonight is a different matter, and it's all true. And what's more, you know it. Okay, that's all well and good, you say. But what's the catch? What's the price tag read? How much do you want for this info? And how in the hell did you come across it in the first place? The answer is I don't know. Maybe it fell off the back of a truck or it was buried in the backyard. Maybe one of those bats in my belfry happened to kick up the right dust. Your guess is as good as mine. What's more, I don't want your money or your eye teeth or anything else. It's my cross to bear and mine alone, which is good because I couldn't explain it if I had to, anyways. All right, so one flub so far for those of you keeping score at home. Um, let's see here. Only a couple more. I'm gonna try and keep these kind of quick because, quite honestly, I mean, who really needs to get bombarded with an hour and a half of poetry after you've worked your job and collected your pay for the day's labor? You don't need to be assaulted with poem after poem. I've already given you quite a few that are a little bit on the more pessimistic side. However, we are going to get a little bit lighter as we go on. I promise. I'm gonna leave you on a high note, perhaps. This one, however, is not. This one is called Green Boots. And if anyone who has known anything about Mount Everest or read any articles on it, there are bodies strewn all over Mount Everest, and they are not recovered because they're frozen and they're just there. And there's one cave where there is a person who is wearing green boots, and they are just there in the perma ice forever on Everest. And I read that an article that said that, and I said, well, that makes a great beginning for a poem. So let's do that. So this one's called Green Boots. Standing on Everest, halfway to the top and halfway to the bottom, I wonder how long? How long until each of us is another frozen memorial along the path? How long until enough is enough? From here, I can see the hungry and dying people everywhere as my oxygen runs out and feet freeze. I understand entropy in all its beauty, and that we're all on a hellbent roller coaster run by greedy, vengeful carnies with brakes that haven't been checked in years. How long until the only choice is where we choose to fall? Again, I did not intend to be quite as pessimistic in this. It's a little rough, I will say. So now, let me see. Oh, hang on. Now we come to the covers section. For those of you familiar with musical terms, when you play someone else's song, it's called a cover. And I don't know if that's a thing in poetry. However, I figured I'd do it because you don't need to just hear me say my own stuff this entire time. So let's go with someone who has a little bit of notoriety and is probably, in some or many people's opinion, maybe a far better poet than I am. But for the first ever live stream I'm doing, I'm going to go with a writer of note from my alma mater, from the University of New Hampshire, and go with Charles Simic, Pulitzer Prize winning Charles Simic, who was a professor at UNH when I was there. I never met him, never saw one of his readings, but hey, I walked past his office a bunch of times, so I walked past a Pulitzer Prize winnings author's office. So that's my thing. And I think someone's here to do stuff in my office, which is awesome. So, anyways, this one's called Miss Nostradamus. Once I adored a seeress, a long-legged one. We roamed the streets of New York like dreamy newlyweds, trailing a funeral of some lofty vision. It's like glimpsing the world's secrets among the empty aquariums and bird cages in the back of a dime store, she told me between kisses. And then late one night, with eyes veiled as the sirens sounded, overcoats thrown over their pajamas, the lovers of tragedies now stand in ecstasy, there where a naked babe is being thrown out of a high window by a woman in flames. And there we have it, a happy poem. All right, one more, and then we will bring this affair to a close. So if anyone is out there or anyone is watching this later, thank you very much for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. And if you want to buy a copy of my book, I believe it's going to be in the description down below. There's a link there. So feel free to do so if you would like. This one is called Particles in Motion. And as I just wrote this was not that long ago, so it's has not been revised, has not been hatcheted or tweaked with. So take it for what it is. Particles in motion. Love is on the atomic scale, particles in motion, surrounded by the vastness of all existence, surrendered to momentum and mathematics until bang, like the old TV shows with illustrated sound effects. Pow, biff, boom. Another particle collides against odds in the millions, and there is this new thing, wholly unforeseen and somewhat unstable. Now, whether it'll fuse or explode is beyond 1 plus 1 or Pythagorean theorem, residing in hearts and other parts. A new element is formed, part fundament and part fuse. Particles in motion, surrounded by the vastness of all existence. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, 10, 11 minutes. That's not too bad, right? So thank you again. If you'd like to buy a copy of my book, Odd Bits of Broken Things, you can find that at bookshop.org, which I highly recommend anyone check out because it's sourced from local bookstores. So it's a great way to buy online, have a great selection, and also support local bookstores across the country. You can also find it digitally at Apple Books. It should be in other places in the near future. No idea when that'll be. It's not up to me, but there's 2 places you can get it right now. And thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.